So, let's talk about dragon fruit. What you're looking at here are two 20-gallon pots of a dragon fruit variety I just call Red Sterile. I'm not sure. They may have a name, or they may have had a name when I bought them 20 years ago. But I rarely, if ever, got fruit off them. So at one point, I just ripped them up and tossed the residue around the base of an oak tree next to my shed. They started to grow there and climbed up the tree. So I left them have at it because they looked cool and occasionally gave me a fruit if I could get them before the birds or the squirrels got them. So I began to see more and more videos online over the years on growing dragon fruit. And one of my favorite channels, and this is kind of odd, is called Ferryman, Ferryman. And it's an Asian guy, somewhere, I don't know, Vietnam, Thailand or something. And the language is hard to understand. I think he has English dubbing in there. Anyway, so you can understand it, but he just has a lot of great tips for growing dragon fruits. So eventually I took some of my cuttings off the old oak tree and rooted them back in 2019. And I put some of these cuttings in these two 20-gallon pots, you see. I knew nothing of self-sterile varieties, and as luck would have it, that's what I had, self-sterile. So someone nearby obviously has a variety with a pollen that works on mine, because every year dozens and dozens of blossoms come and go. I mean dozens. And you know, I heard a woman, and she's out west. She runs a dragon fruit farm company out there, sells all the fruit, but I heard her mention that these plants can produce up to 35 pounds of fruit per year per plant, and I believe it. So my goal now is to have as much pollen on hand as possible. So when I see a bloom, it's going to get pollinated. And this is the first time I've ever dismantled one of these pots, and this little sickle knife I'm using here is awesome. It's fantastic. I also have a little power pruner. Yeah, well, as you get older, and I don't know how old any of you are who are watching this, but as you get older, your fingers start to tighten up at night. And I think possibly I might have used my hand as a hammer too many times over the years, but this little power pruner is a lifesaver. It's a must for us as well as for all of us who have these hands that seem to be a little sore. But these little pruners would cut a finger right off without slowing down, so you got to be careful where your digits are when you pull the trigger. So anyway, here I am lugging this pot over to a tarp. Why the tarp? Well, because I'm cheap. Yep, I'm kind of frugal. I don't like to throw anything away. As you can see here in a minute, I'm going to even salvage the mulch that's on top of the pot. And I think, why not? You know, I'm paying $3 a bag for this stuff. Might as well reuse it. I've been retired for 20 years. My income is set. Ain't no lottery coming my way either, because I don't gamble. So what I got is what I get is what I got, and I save as much as I can. You know, a penny earned is a penny saved. Now you'll notice the holes I drilled in the PVC fence post cover for the aerial roots to find purchases. That was my idea anyway. That was the plan. But the roots never found those holes. Never. I mean, you didn't see any of the aerial roots, and here I am kicking this pot. This thing weighs like a ton. Yeah. Oh, that one hurt. That was the exact heel I broke. It's called a calcaneus. I broke that back in 1998, and not supposed to use it as a hammer. So I don't remember how I built these things, but oh, okay. Wow. I wasn't expecting that. Can you believe it? There were no aerial roots, but the entire center of the post is filled. You know, I figured these would be root bound, but I never thought they'd be root bound like this. So, if you're growing dragon fruit in pots, and I see many videos of people doing this, when you see that your plants are looking a little chlorotic and the new growth is kind of puny, it could be the plant is starving for fresh ground, even starting to kind of bonsai out a little bit. That's what I saw happening to mine. As you can see, I'm going to save as much soil as I can, as I'm cheap. You betcha. Anyway, as I'm taking this pot off, I have no idea how I put this thing together. It's just, it's been 3 years. I've had other projects, and, some things are important, some things are not. And how I put this dragon fruit pot together is not that important, apparently. Either that or I'm just making an excuse for having the old age syndrome. But look at the roots. Look at them. I mean, there was so many roots, they climbed up the center of that post. So, I was right. These things, they get pot bound something fierce. Yeah, I could see the decline starting to happen because I put these cuttings in, like I say, back in 2019, 2020, 21, and 22. They bloomed like crazy, and boy, if I would have had pollen, I could have filled my freezer up with dragon fruit. And we do live on smoothies a lot. We drink tons of them. Always buying fruit, and so my plan is to get as much pollen as I can. Yeah, look at those roots. Okay, here I am. I got my little daddy or whatever you want to call that thing. I'm gonna bust every bit of soil out of that root ball as I can get. And meanwhile, I'm starting to figure out how I put these things together now. I can see my nemesis there in the middle. That's why I couldn't get it out of the pot. Okay. So that's kind of like, it's a 1/2-inch block. I cemented this aluminum. It's a hollow piece of aluminum pipe. I think they were called auto poles. My wife did visual at JCPenney, and they were scrapping them out one day and throwing them in the dumpster. So anyway, I'm putting the soil back in. This is my Dr. Earth 394. I even wrote dragon fruit on the bag because I'm growing a lot of different things here, and they all seem to require a different, bit of amendments to the soil. And of course, bone meal. Now this is an old bag. I'm just trying to use it up. What I prefer to use, and I buy it off Amazon now, it's not really cheap, but I only use like a couple tablespoons per pot, or this size pot. Smaller pot, 1/2 teaspoon or something, because it all depends on how long the plant's going to stay in the pot. But the fish bone meal is where I was getting what I was talking about. Now the perlite, I used to buy it in large bags from I think it was Home Depot, but in their wisdom they stopped carrying that, so I bought 2 of these 4 cubic foot bags off of Amazon, and it'll last me a while. But I want the soil mix to be light and airy, and I don't know whatever happened to the perlite that was in there before. Disappeared. Okay, I'm putting my wonderful PVC pipe back on, putting more dirt in there. These dragon fruit in these pots, I like to think of them now as the same thing I do with the pineapple plant. When I plant the top of a pineapple, this bag was heavy, I left it out in the rain. Yeah, there's just a couple inches on top, and I'm going to mix that with perlite too, so it kind of breaks up more drainage. But when I plant a pineapple in the pot, I do it with the intention of that pineapple staying in that pot for minimally 2 years, and sometimes even close to 3. Unless it's a sucker. If it starts from a sucker off the side of the plant, usually you'll get a little fruit off of that earlier than you do from the tops of the pineapple. So these are some leftover natural mystic cuttings. And I bought the plant from Home Depot, and it actually had the name Natural Mystic on it. Usually they just have some generic dragon fruit. They don't even tell you what color it is, what color flesh. It's dragon fruit, or they'll even give you the Latin name, here to clear it's to do this, or whatever they call it. But these were labeled Natural Mystic. I hope they are. And so these were some trimmings that were left over from the one I planted back there, and I just couldn't throw them away, so I put them in a little potting soil, and I set them on the carport up there in front of my truck. It's kind of shaded, and I gave them a little water when I remembered to. But they rooted up kind of neat in a way. Some of them got some decent roots on them, and those ones do not, apparently. So these three are going to live in here, hopefully for the next 3 years. But I will definitely remember that in the year 2026, if any of us are still here, I do believe this is the closing of Earth's history, but not sure when. So if any of us are here in 2026, I'll be redoing this pot, if I'm still have enough strength to do it. That's the problem with people. We don't get younger. So I'm not going to fill the center post. Well, I might just do that, because those roots were definitely looking for something to go, and it did add a little bit of stability to the post, I think. I don't know. I'm no expert at anything, especially dragon fruit. But as the song says, no strength, no power, no wisdom. But I will boast in Jesus Christ, his death and resurrection. I hope you gained something from this, the root cause of my dragon fruit problem.